focus on hitting your goals in every area of your business. Remember, the universe rewards the bold. A leader has to take the risks.
Okay, let's rock and roll.
All right, let's rock and roll, man. I love it.
Did you see the film?
What's that?
Did you watch the film?
I did. I watched most of the film. I tried to get through the whole thing, and but it was absolutely incredible, man. You should be so proud of yourself.
I am. Thank you.
David Fishof, right? I mean, is it
Fishof? Yeah.
Fishof. Okay, I just want to make sure I got the name right. But this is really cool for you to come on Wealth on the Beach podcast. We are, I've interviewed over 150 people, and this is like, I think I was looking forward to this one more than so many others. I mean, you have so many great names that you that you've been surrounded by all these years. I mean, you know, you're whether producing a tour, assembling an all-star band with Ringo Starr, you're hanging out with Roger Daltrey, the Monkees, Joe Walsh. I mean, who that'd be pretty cool. Jack Bruce, Peter Frampton. You got a passion for building, building bands and building events. One of the most innovative producers in the world. But then this is what's cool about David that I want y'all to know, is he created, this is one of his all-time dreams, is to create a rock and roll fantasy camp. And we're going to be talking about that today, because that is like really, really cool to know. So David, how did you come up with this rock and roll fantasy camp, man?
So, I toured for many years with Ringo, and I toured for many of my bands, with the Monkees or my British Rock Symphony. I was always on the road. But one event happened when I was on my first tour with Ringo and the All-Star Band. After the fourth show, people couldn't believe you'd put a tour like that together. How are you going to get all these A-listers to go on tour? And, it's one thing if you do a one-nighter for Live Aid and do a charity benefit, but to put them on the road together, all those egos, how's it going to work? And so I got nervous, as well as everybody kept scaring me. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And after the fourth show, I was sitting at the Garden State Arts Center in the backstage area, and Nils Lofgren walks by and he says, "Fishof, I'm out of here. I can't do this tour." And I said, "Oh no, I mortgaged my house to put up the deposit." And then all of a sudden, Clarence Clemens, a minute later, he comes to my right. He says, "Fishof, I'm out of here. I'm quitting too. It's not going to work." And I said, "Well, go find Ringo. It's his band." And they couldn't find him anywhere. And then the security guard said, "You better go down there having a fight. Joe Walsh and Levon Helm. Joe's got a knife and blood, and Levon Helm's got a broken glass bottle and blood. And you better go in there and break this fight up." So I went in there in the dressing room, and I start seeing these two guys going at each other. And I start yelling, "Are you guys a bunch of babies?" I just freaked out. And I try to get in the middle there and try to break it up. And all of a sudden, Levon takes the glass bottle and throws it over Joe's head, and more blood comes out. And then they both turned around and they stuck their tongues out at me. They had gotten fake blood. They got a glass bottle made out of sugar, and they just pulled such a stunt. And it's in the movie, and you see it in the movie, and it's really happened in the Ringo dressing room. So when I came back out of that, I said to myself, these guys have so much fun. How cool would it be to give people the experience to tour and to be on the road with a bunch of great rock stars who be creative? And that's when I got the idea of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. Now, it's been 25 years later, and it's been amazing. And now 26 years, really, to see how much the rock stars love Rock Camp as much as the guests who come.
So it really was. So after all said and done, it wasn't ego. They're playing a joke on you, obviously, but you found a way to kind of control these egos throughout all these years to put these people together in a room. And you probably found out, now correct me if I'm wrong, but you probably found out that successful people actually like to learn from other successful people.
Listen, Tony Robbins said it. Dick Clark told me years ago. He said, David, to be successful, you got to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. And Tony Robbins said, you want to do something, immerse yourself in it. Immerse yourself in it. So Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, you want to be a musician, you want to do it as fun, you want to be a vocalist. I'm not telling you to go up there and be a rock star. I don't promise that. But if you want to do that, immerse yourself. Go to a camp for 4 days and get that experience and surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. So I'm a big believer of that.
And so I want to kind of dive a little bit deeper into your past, because I want our audience to get to know you as a person. Sure. Where were you born, and what was your childhood like growing up?
So I was basically raised in Hackensack, New Jersey. My dad was a cantor. My mom was a school teacher. My dad was a survivor of the Holocaust. He survived Auschwitz and Buchenwald. He lived quite an interesting life during the war. He made false passports. He was living as a non-Jew. And it's documented in a book called The Yellow Star. And then he gets caught in giving a passport on the streets in Hungary. They ship him off to Auschwitz, and he meets 5 of his dear friends that came from the city. They were from this town called Bratislava. And they go through the camps together. And the book, The Yellow Star, basically tells the story of these 5 guys together. So I learned growing up everyday survival. My dad talked about it. You know, a lot of Holocaust survivors didn't talk to the kids about it. My dad spoke about it every day. I came home from school every day, and there was a half a piece of bread in the refrigerator, half a piece of toast. And I once asked my dad, what's this half a piece of bread for? And my dad said, I ate 1.5 pieces of bread every breakfast, but I know my next meal was. So I saved that as my next meal. And, you know, being a survivor's kid, you learn a lot of good, and you learn a lot of bad, but you really learn to survive. And so luckily I had my dad. You know, he lived on a quarter of a kidney. He got beaten so badly by the Nazis, but he taught me a lot. He lived to 82, so that was my childhood. It was a happy childhood. My dad never got aggravated. My mom, they were in love for 52 years. You know, my dad could say, there's nothing you could do to aggravate me because I saw it all. So I had a good childhood and really supportive. But in the end, as you see in the movie, I wanted to be a musician. My brother was a drummer. He got all the girls. And as many of these rock stars will tell you, from Bret Michaels said at a rock camp, you want to get the girls, you got to learn to play guitar. And so many rockers have told me that, you know. So I wanted to be in the band, but I wasn't good enough. So
what were you like though as a kid? I mean, you had a pretty good childhood. You grew up.
I was a go-getter.
Okay. Were you middle class, higher class, lower class?
Oh, like no, we were definitely middle class. Definitely lower middle class. But okay. I was selling candies. I was selling the cards. You know, on the back of the comic books, they had those, selling Christmas cards, and I was selling cards. I was selling stationery. I was selling raffle tickets. I was always selling. I made a newspaper when I was in, I think, first grade, where I used to get the Sunday newspaper, and I would get the Sunday newspaper, and I'd write the headlines of myself by hand, and on like 7 pieces of paper. Remember, in between we had we didn't have photos. We had like that paper, that copy paper, that you would write and it would appear. And I'd sell it in my building, my apartment building. So yeah, I was always selling. I was always being entrepreneurial. I have a teenage son now. He's selling baseball cards. I love it. He's waiting for sneakers to come up to buy the best sneakers that he can go resell 5 minutes later. I think it's great for kids to be doing that. It gives them the entrepreneurship to want to do something. Very hard in today's society because you're competing with TikTok, you're competing with all these games, Fortnite, everything like that. And the problem is parents give their kids everything, so there's no motivation for them. But I think to stimulate them, I love seeing my kids, get jobs as teenagers, running youth groups, and I think it's really important.
So now, were your parents musicians or anything? I mean, did you like what was that? Where'd that spark come from?
Okay,
though? Like,
so my dad was a cantor.
Besides the girls,
right? No. My dad was a cantor, so he's around music. It was my brother Joey. He loved the Beach Boys. He saw Ringo play drums on the Ed Sullivan Show, and he swore he's going to become a drummer. My brother went to Woodstock. Yeah, it was really my brother because he was really around, Jack Bruce. I remember picking up Ginger Baker from the airport, and I said, Ginger, two things I heard in my house: God and Ginger Baker. My father talked about God, and my brother talked about Ginger Baker. So definitely my brother. The influence. I wasn't even into the musicians at all. I was a sports guy, and that's why I became a sports agent first.
Okay, so how did that happen? Where did that?
So I was writing. I was booking acts in the Catskill Mountains, and if you see the movie Dirty Dancing, it's all true. I was booking, bands up in the Catskills, and then from there, I still became I was writing for a newspaper. I interviewed a couple of ball players. I met some players, and I started booking them. Can I book you on appearances? And back then, when I started, there weren't a lot of agents, and so most of these players didn't have agents. So I said, I'll represent you. I'll negotiate your contracts. And there were a bunch of agents there, but they weren't good. And once I started doing good for one, I picked up another one and another client. And, they talk in the locker room. So, eventually I had 3 of the Angels. I had 8 of the New York Giants. And I started building up a nice practice. And I loved it. I loved working with the guys and really helping them get their contracts, get their life together, and I wasn't investing their money, but I would tell them, hey, put away, it's going to end. It's going to end. Buy an annuity, buy something that you're going to see income later on. Don't risk your money. And, it's a short period that you have 4.5 years as an NFL player, bank it. And today I'm close with a lot of them because they listen to me and they get, I had one client call me up about 10 years ago and said, hey, David, I got a check in the mail for $25,000. What's it for? I said, you're going to get a check for the next 30 years every month because you set an annuity. You totally forgot about it. So I was really, to me, that was really important. But it got boring. Why did it get boring? It got boring because it was about show me the money. And I was sharing office space with some great music managers, and I wanted to be creative. And it's hard when you represent ball players, honestly, you have to negotiate their contract, but creativity, you can't do much because the team owns them. So I wanted to own my own projects. I wanted to be like the team owner. And I was able to get that opportunity when I put together the Monkees. I put together Happy Together tours and Dirty Dancing and Ringo. It was just more fun for me. So I eventually, moved more into the music business.
So how does that happen? I mean, you're in, because I think what's happening right now is people are watching this or they're listening to this right now, and they are thinking, okay, so you got this successful business where you're a sports agent, and then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're like, that's boring. I'm going to go into the music business. So was there somebody that you knew that got you in? Did you have a connection? Did you just all of a sudden say, okay, today I'm going to,
no.
Like how did it transpire?
Okay. So I'll give you the philosophy. Amway. I don't know if you remember Amway growing up. So I was in the Amway business. Someone put me in the Amway business, 20 years old. And again, the philosophy of Amway was you have a main business and go out and sell, whatever you do, you're a school teacher, you're a lawyer, start selling these Amway products. And eventually you'll get to the point where your Amway sales will be bigger than your school teacher and your lawyer salary, and you'll be independent. So, and that's what Amway, they really teach you. I took that philosophy of Amway and I used it on my own business. So I stayed in the sports business, but simultaneously, as I was doing the sports business, I started experimenting in music. So I did a Happy Together tour, which is still, with the Turtles and the Grassroots, the package tours, because I learned that in the Catskills, how to package artists, and no one was doing that. So I came up with this idea in '84 when I first met my first band. I got a call. A guy read an interview about me in the LA Times. I was negotiating Vince Ferragamo's contract. He says, you want to represent the association? So I took on the band. I went to see them and I took them on. Now, I had never done music before, but we have a word in Judaism called chutzpah. you know, I'm going to take a chance. Did I learn how to be a sports agent? No, there was no such thing back then. So I said to a player, I'm going to go and I said to Lupinello, let me go and negotiate your contract with George Steinbrenner. I'll do a better job than you can do. And I proved to him that I could. I went up against George and I was able to negotiate because, you know, no one should negotiate for themselves. So I went and I learned just by doing that. And once I was successful doing that, I picked up other clients and other clients. So yes, chutzpah. You take a chance and you go, you do it. And you know, always bearing in mind that you still have a client. You know, I was reading an article last night about a player agent who's suing his agent because the agent, you know, never returned calls. He had an offer for $70 million to play for a basketball team. The agent was trying to be cool, didn't turn down a $70 million guarantee. Now the guy's making $3 million. Look at Schroeder, even Schroeder of the Lakers. He had like a $70, $80 million guarantee, and his agent turned it down. Now he's playing for the Celtics for $5 million. So, you know, a lot of times these agents get in the way. You know, you hear about Scott Boras, and I mean, you hear about the $1 zillion contracts that he made, but you go look at all the deals that he turned down. Now, the reason he got those $1 zillion deals is because maybe he is having that fear factor. But there's somebody who took that punishment who didn't get that contract because the agent was too tough. So, you know, it's a fine balance you have to be, you know, to represent the player and then realize, you know, I always had a feeling of what's enough? How much is enough? And so it's taking a chance. No, I didn't throw out the sports business when I had the entertainment business. I was doing both simultaneously. But then the entertainment business just took precedence because it took a lot more work. I was making a lot more money than I was as a sports agent. Because I owned the merchandising, I owned ticket sales, sponsorship, you know. So it was fun. So eventually,
so you were getting creative as far as like packaging these deals together, and you were getting little cuts on all these different areas of the business. And so, is there something that we can learn from that? I mean, just the average little small business out there. I mean, should they be looking at creating multiple streams of income versus just working at a 9-to-5 job?
100%.
Could you talk about that? Yeah.
Yeah. First of all the restaurants today, you know, the Postmates and you know, if you own a restaurant, there's so much online business. You own a store, online is the place to go. So, you know, Barnes & Noble, I walked into their store last night, The Grove, in Los Angeles, and it's empty, you know. And then, but you know, I said to my daughter, I said, they're making their money. That's an advertisement for online, and online is everything today. So yes, you have to look for different multiples. You know, last year I'm in the live music business. Nothing got hurt more than the live music business during COVID. So right away, I came up with this concept. I'm going to do live Zooms. You can talk to the rock stars, and I did Roger Daltrey, I had Styx the band, I had the Scorpions, I had Rudy Sarzo giving bass lessons, you name it. I did 160 masterclasses over Zoom, and you know, it was amazing. Now, was it super profitable? Wasn't super profitable because I split it with the artist. But what I did do was I kept my brand going and the awareness. So you always have to be one step ahead. And, you know, take your brand and, you know, and I wrote a book that 10 years ago called Rocking Your Business, things you can learn from these rock stars. And let me tell you something, there's a lot you can learn because the brands like Kiss, the Beatles, the Stones, they're still making multi-million dollars. I mean, the Beatles coming out with this new film now. I walked into Barnes & Noble last night. The records are out. The merchandising is out. The Rolling Stones are out there touring, grossing over 10 million a night. I mean, how many businesses 50 years ago are still around today? And so you can learn a lot from rock stars.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So let's get into this band camp thing. All right. And I'm just thinking, like, people want to know, I mean, look, I never played in a band, you know, before. I mean, am I excluded from something like this?
You play an instrument?
I don't play an instrument necessarily, but maybe, you know, maybe karaokeing every once in a while.
Okay, so you sing. So
who is this for? Who is this camp for?
Okay, first of all, I have to tell you that the movie, Rock Camp, the movie, really gives you an insight to rock and roll fantasy camp. And I'm really proud of the film because, number one, it's 95% Rotten Tomatoes. Even Jimmy Fallon loved it. And it's available on Amazon. It's available on Apple. People should see this film because I'll tell you about the movie. Whether you love music or not, what I was hoping the most to get out of this film is I'm 40 years old. I'm 30 years old. I created an app. I created an idea. I have a thought to make money. This film will motivate you to don't be scared. Go do your dream. These people do it through music. You can do it. You can do it. My wife's an artist. At 50 years old, she's finding a lot of success now. She was scared. She graduated college and all of a sudden, then she got into NFTs now, and now she's turning it into a wonderful business. So I think people, fear is a big factor that people are scared to take their ideas. Everybody's walking around with $1 million idea. Everyone has it in their mind, but they're scared to do it. And that's why I wrote the book. That's why I did the film. I want people to get over their fears and take their ideas and run with it. And I show you how to do it in the book. But anyways, the camp, whether you're a vocalist or you're a music enthusiast, and you really want to immerse yourself into understanding music and rock and roll, camp's a great place to go. We put you in a band. You get to jam with legends like Dave Mustaine, Joe Perry, and you learn so much, whether it's team building. I had the owner of Oracle come to my camp, and he walks into a band with a bunch of his friends, comes with the whole band. He says to the guy, we want to do this song. Says to the rock star. And the rocker turns to him, excuse me, sir, I need to teach the song to 5 other people in the band. So you learn to listen. You learn general life lessons. I had a young lady last night. She was on one of our Zoom calls, and she said she was the most paranoid person in the world, afraid to walk into a room with strange people. She came to the camp. It broke all her. Now she's not afraid to walk into a room. So I've seen the most life-changing experiences, not to do with music, just to be surrounded by these musicians and artists.
And I'm sure just in the being in that environment, I mean, you're going to hear things, you're going to learn things, you're going to capture ideas, you're going to get to rub elbows a little bit with somebody that that's been successful in this arena. And so you go, wow, I mean, what could you learn from something like this? And so is there,
I'll tell you what you're going to learn. You know what you're going to learn? You're going to learn to be authentic. You're going to learn about people who at high school and college had to make a decision. Do I go to get a regular job like 99.9999% of the world, or do I go live my dream? And these people went to live their dream, and you can learn how to be authentic from these rock stars. It's incredible that these rock stars who are alive today and survived and who are surviving, you can learn from them because they have their total happiness. You know what they all have? In those 160 classes that I found, that they all had that same common denominator, whether it was Alice Cooper, whether it was Def Leppard, the passion to wake up every morning and get creative, write a song. People say to me, when they sign up for Rock Camp, they put down their excellent guitarist. And then I'll ask the rock star, I said, are they excellent? He says, very good. No question, David. He's very good. She's very good. Said, but the difference is I play my instrument 5 hours a day. I'm using my finger picks and my fingers. People like Joe Walsh, people like Keith Richards, they play their guitars. They have so many of them. They pick them up, but they practice every day. So people who have passion, who do their work, my favorite line is, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Oh, you're so lucky, David. No. You prepare for it.
Oh, it's such good content here. I mean, I was just talking, I have a coaching program that I do, and I was just talking this morning to our guys, and we were talking about limiting beliefs. And, so many people, they're so afraid to do things because they're worried about what other people think about them.
Oh, that's the worst thing in the world.
This is it, man. I mean, it's like we got one life to live. We might as well go live it. We might as well go enjoy it. And we might as well put it all on the dang line, all of our passion, all of our authentic, just our authentic self, put it on the line and go for it. What do we got to lose, man? We fail, we get back up, we try again.
Let's talk about that, because that's important. you're saying really what the bottom line is to everything in life. I really think you hit it. And I'll tell you, my first book is called Putting It Online. I wrote that 25 years ago, but and that was about negotiating. But I'll tell you what changed my life. I did a program called the Hoffman Institute.org, and I went up north, and where I had done a lot, been on the road. I had been married twice. I said to myself, I just broke up my marriage. I said, I know I'm a good guy. What is wrong with me? Why can't I keep a marriage? What's my happiness? I was really having issues. And about 20 years ago, and someone recommended me to do this program. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm just going to go away for 7 days, and I'm going to work on myself. And I went away to this place called the Hoffman Institute. And recently, it's gotten so much publicity. Katy Perry met Orlando Bloom there. Justin Bieber, he went for 3 days, couldn't even make it through. He left, but his manager did it. And it really changed my life. What did it do? Exactly what you said. Stop worrying about when people think about you. I learned more lessons of life through them. And basically the program works like this. Our parents give us positive traits and they give us negative traits. We love them for the positive traits. Look at it, you're a great looking guy, you're smart, but they gave you some negative crap too. And they gave me a lot of negative stuff. So what this program helps you to do is work on and identify the negative stuff that your parents gave you and rebuild you to be that person, that little David who you were 1 year old before anyone ever hurt you. It all starts in the foundation. We all carry our parents on each shoulder, our mother and our father. And all we do is say we want our parents' acceptance, no matter who you are. My grandkids, grandpa, my kids, daddy, look at me. All kids want is acceptance of their parents. And our parents give us a lot of stuff. And, we learn to love our parents after this program because we realize that they got their garbage from their parents and who got it from their parents. And I come from a Holocaust family. And, I walked into Hoffman, I'll share this with you. And they have you identify the negative traits you get from your parents. And I identified 100 negative traits of my mother in advance and 5 of my father. I adored my father. I adored him. My mother and I, we battled. She was into college education and education, favored my brother and because he got his master's and his, rabbit, you name it. In the end, after doing Hoffman, I identified 125 negative traits of my mother, but I found 125 of my father too. And I didn't realize that I got stuff from my dad. And I don't want to go on and talk about it, but this Hoffman really blew my mind. And because you're in this business of rock and roll, you're in the business of sports, and you don't really see reality. You don't see reality. Yes, you have the passion, you see the successes after successes after successes. But let me tell you, you have to be, they ripped my ass a whole apart. I hate to say that word. And it really taught me a lot about life. And that's how I was able to create the camp too. And to create it to be a life-changing experience. So while you think you're going to rock camp and you are jamming with these superstars, I'm trying to take you back to that young age when that song first affected you, and for you to find passion in your life that you lost because for some reasons you lost it, whether your girlfriend left you, whether your parents ignored you, so whatever it was, but get you back to rebuild you.
I mean, music is, I love, obviously, most of us love music. I love music. But isn't it interesting how music can make you feel things that you haven't felt in 20 years? It's like a song that you heard when you were 8 years old. I'm getting the chills even thinking about it right now because it like I could hear a Lionel Richie song, and it's just like throw you back to the 1980s somewhere. And I could see exactly where I was when I heard that song or felt that feeling or, kissed that girl or whatever it was. And it's just like, wow, it's amazing. It really is amazing.
The power of music. And you see in the film, you saw those 2 young men and the fathers and the sons and the women and the drummer. And we show you those 4 examples, but there's 1,000 examples how the power of music really is life-changing. Now, I just had a thought I wanted to share with you because it will come back to me. But
I think that,
hold on. I want to share this thought with you because it's so powerful. Okay. 2 weeks ago, I did a corporate event for YPO. I brought in 30 CEOs, never played music before. They came to LA. We put them in bands. There were 5 people that could play instruments. The rest, we taught them. We taught them how to play a chord. We could teach you. These rock stars could teach you. 2 days, they were performing live at the Whiskey A Go-Go. And they were all A-type guys. And they got to jam with Kathy Valentine from the Go-Go's. And she's going in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and this and that. I talked to the chairman about a week later. I said, so tell me, how was the experience? He said, David, it was unbelievable. How you changed, took all these regular people, never played an instrument. You taught them how to play some chords. You guys taught them how to bang on a drum. And then we had a couple, musicians who sat in and really helped them be a band. He said, but Kathy Valentine, I cannot tell you, I was an orphan. My dad was sick. My mother died. And my dad wasn't going to live. And they would bring me CDs, and not CDs, cassette tapes as a gift because they knew I loved music. I was 8 years old. And they brought me a cassette tape of the Go-Go's. And when I got to play on stage with Kathy Valentine and meet her of the Go-Go's, and I remember that thing, it was life-changing. He was in tears. Now, this is a guy who runs a $50 million company. And him meeting this star, playing with her, and remembering it. So you're absolutely right. It's the power of the songs that you remember. And it's life-changing.
It is life-changing. And then on top of that, to be a part of a camp where you can go and be a part of some of your early dreams and to make them a reality, to make that reality. Because there's a lot of people right now that are watching, listening, I'm thinking of somebody in my mind right now I'm going to refer to this camp, because there's a lot of people that it was their dream to be a musician. And for whatever reason, it didn't get to that level for them and they took a different path in their life or whatever. But man, to be able to have the opportunity to learn and to dream again and to feel it again and to be a part of something special again, even if it's for 4 days, these are memories that are going to last a lifetime for these people.
Friendships, the friendships you'll make, the memories, the relationships. We're doing a songwriting camp in April with Desmond Child. You have to play an instrument. And it'll be unbelievable that you just learn to write songs, just to come there and learn the expertise from these people. But yes, it's more than that. So when they come, they're coming for the big star and I'm going to get that picture and I'm going to jam with them. When they walk away, they realize they got a whole life-changing experience going to rock camp. And 50% of our campers return because they get that amazing feeling.
That's so cool.
And that creative feeling. They go back to their homes and they run their businesses better. They learn to listen. To be in a band, you got to listen. You got to listen to the other musicians. You got to learn to collaborate. You got to learn to write original songs. You got to learn to perform on stage. You get rid of that shy feeling. Whatever it is, you get to learn how to be your authentic self.
Yeah, I literally just got off another podcast before I got on with you, and we were talking about coaching and why it's important to have a mentor, why it's important to have a coach, and
so important.
Did you have any? Who would you say is one of your favorite mentors of your life?
So I was very lucky. I had some great people, always older than me, who always took me on. And some were good, some were bad. But I was very lucky to have some really good people. I had a guy named Tom Ilias at William Morris Agency who took a liking to me, and he helped me. I have some very good people, whether it was Herschel Bernardi, the actor. I was the young kid, and some of them were really good, and Yes, I'm a big believer in find yourself find yourself someone that can give you some advice and who'll be sincere. I love to help young people out because I was helped. People gave me the advice, but it's interesting. Gene Simmons said about Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. He said, I wish they had this when I was growing up. I would have learned so much. And I've seen some of these counselors, these rock star mentors, have taken on some of these young kids, and they're flying. Rudy Sarzo, from Quiet Riot, he just loves doing camp, and he's changed the lives of so many of these young people. And they're now musicians, and they've gone to Berkeley, and at camp you learn a lot more than just you find yourself some mentors and some good people.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel very lucky and blessed that, I started in business at 21, got out of, quit college, I want to be an entrepreneur. A lot of the stuff that you're talking about, it really resonates with me because I was that young kid that I just wanted to be somebody so bad. I wanted to do something great with my life. And I found some really good mentors. But the key for me, at least, just for people listening, the key for me, I was just very coachable. I threw my ego out the door. I think it's important that you go to a camp like this, you're going to be learning from some of the all-time legends in the music business. And I think that you got to kind of put your ego aside and say, hey, what can I learn? Open myself up to learn, take it in, right?
And I take it, and I have the same conversation with the rock stars prior to camp. I said, this is about them, and let's give them the experience. And, and that's why not everybody is great to do this camp. It has to be a certain giving person. Dave Mustaine, as you see in the film, wow, he was just incredible how he just gives of himself. And to be able to do a rock camp with Dave Mustaine, it's just unbelievable. He was a guy who really said, and Jeff Beck too. I think what happened with these people is they realized that the business has been so good. Let me get back. And here's a secure place where it reminds them what it was like when they first started, that they could come and they could advise. Joe Perry, same thing, just did a beautiful article in Forbes magazine. And he gets so much out of camp because he gets to mentor people.
Oh, what a fun thing. All right. So we're getting down to the end here. This has been really an amazing conversation, David. And I just can't tell you how much I appreciate. But I really want people to get to know you and get to know Rock and Roll Camp, Fantasy Camp. And so tell us how to connect with you, and maybe, some of the questions that people might ask, how old do I have to be? And, stuff like that,
Great. So first of all, go to the website, rockcamp.com. You're going to learn about all the camps. Rockcampthemovie.com. You get the film. It's $2.99. It's really worth it to watch, whether you're a musician or not. I think you'll get inspired. But better than that, on every Tuesday night, we've been doing you'll see on our website, an open Zoom where you get to meet with Britt Lightning, who is the musical director of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, to ask questions and have an open forum and meet campers who've done it, campers who want to come, people who have a lot of questions. Open to everyone. It's free. We also have master classes for $50 where you can learn your instrument. You can talk to these rock stars. Rockcamp.com. My email, feel free, David@Rockcamp. I never give it out, but I love that your podcast about entrepreneurs. I love to answer questions. I love to mentor people. My book, Rock Your Business, I think it's still available on Amazon, but it really gives you my philosophies of how to take an idea that you have and make it happen. And don't be afraid. I love seeing, these entrepreneurs. And today, boy, the monies you can make is so far. If you're young and you know how to work that internet and you want to learn about NFTs, so much you can learn and make money today. And
we live in a great age. We live in a great age, David. And you're 100% right, because we live in this era that so much information is available to us. I mean, come on, you get to learn from a major rock star for $50. Seriously, he's going to give you his information that he spent his whole life figuring out.
Right.
And he's going to actually teach me in a master class, and it's only going to cost $50.
I got
That's
something
ridiculous.
better. I got something better. And we're going to leave it at this, because I think this is the biggest question I can answer for you. You said to me earlier, oh, how does a normal person get to, get somewhere? So one of the big things is you wrote a song, you want to get it to Celine Dion. You want to meet the president of a company. You want to get to anybody. Okay, how do you get to somebody? That's the biggest question. How do I get to somebody? How do I get a song? How do I get to? I want to meet the president of GE, whatever it is. So Shep Gordon, the great manager, went on a podcast, went on our Zoom, giving lessons, and he came up with this thing that I love the way he coined it. You got to be above the noise, above the noise. So you research the person you want to get to. You research, they love chocolate chip cookies. Go out and get the best chocolate chip cookies. Send a FedEx to them. Write them a letter. Get above the noise. Everyone's trying to get to that one person. You do the research and find out what they love. Are they a Boston Red Sox fan? Send them a Red Sox, signed by Cardi Scrims, whatever it takes. A little gift, something that you've researched them. FedEx it to them. I guarantee you will get a response. If you send an email, you're not going to get it. But get above the noise. And if that's one thing I can leave your listeners with, there's not anybody that you can't get to. There were times when I was flying on a plane to LA, and next to me there was somebody handing me a script. They were able to call the airlines, find out. Now, I'm not in the movie. I'm not in the movie business, but I give them credit. I would say to them, you wasted your flight. I appreciate you getting on. I'm not in the movie. I'm in the live music business. But that's okay. I give people the credit what they can do. You can get to anybody in this world. You might not get to the president of the United States, but you can reach anybody. And it's all that information's online.
Oh my God. I mean, you could send somebody a DM, I mean, if you send them
it's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. I'm sorry. I lost a little bit of video right there. Okay. We Good. Are, so anyways, I mean, you absolutely, you send somebody a DM and say hi. And next thing you know, you got a little conversation going. I mean, I'm writing.
And if they don't respond, I've tried, reaching out to me sometimes. But if you send a FedEx, I cannot tell you, I wrote a FedEx to a lot of youth stars and I got to them. Or I went to sit at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, bought a ticket and bought a ticket, spent $2,000, but I wanted to get to that rock star. And I was able to sit next to 2 tables away, give someone my business card. The stories are inevitable that you can reach people.
Oh, it's good stuff. Well, thank you so much. This has been, this is just awesome. I mean, I love having conversations with interesting people. You've had an amazing, interesting life for sure. And thank you for sharing it. The one thing I wanted to tell you from my heart is that you just seem like a really genuine, down to earth, cool guy, like really, I mean, you just seem like the nicest guy ever. And I can feel that. And that I know. And look, if people are watching this right now, or if you are listening to it, if you've really been paying attention, this is the greatest, lesson, I think, to how to build relationships with people. I mean, this is how to win friends and influence people. Like this guy, he just wants to do good. He just wants to help. There was no pressure. There was no, craziness. There was just genuine. I just want to do good. I want to help people reach their dreams. I want to, and for some reason you had this in you to bring all these other people together and then share. How fun is that, and to live the life you've lived, it's pretty cool.
It's more fun. You know what? It's more fun to give than to receive.
It is.
And being a parent and a grandparent to 8 kids, and I got 8 grandkids and 5 kids, and I just adore kids and I adore giving. And, I just enjoy it. It's, I wake up every day and my email's full of thank you, David. I just get more out of that. To me, that's, I got people that got zillions of dollars, the dividends of having these grandkids and having these kids that are successful. And you just find that it's more important in your life. And So thank you, Daniel. It was fun for me. I love you brought a lot of stuff out of me that I don't normally talk about. And so I enjoyed our conversation. I hope we'll do it again. Thank you.
Well, thank you again. And everybody, just one last thing, just make sure that you go follow David. Go, say hello, send him a DM, send him an email, say, hey, look, I heard you on Wealth on the Beach podcast, and that was awesome. And that was great to hear your story. And so make sure you find him. Check out Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. I mean, for some of you that are musicians, check it out. I really think this could be an amazing experience for you. Check out the movie. You gotta go get the movie on Rock Camp on Amazon. Okay, I watched it. It's an incredible film, incredible movie, documentary style. Loved it, and I love documentaries, so it's really, really fun to watch. But go check that out. And with that said, everybody, make sure you continue to dream bigger than ever. Get after it, but most importantly, do it now. God bless you. We will see you at the top.